Everything started when I accepted the briefcase of money in Part 4 and final, the final price. Chapter 20, the last threat. 6 more months passed in relative peace. The restaurant flourished, my mother fully recovered her health, and Sarah finished her book, which became a bestseller. Life was good, better than I dared to hope, but deep in my heart I knew that peace never lasts. On a cold winter night after I closed the restaurant and everyone had gone home, I sat alone reviewing the day's accounts. It was late, close to midnight, and the street outside was completely empty. I heard the sound of a car stopping in front of the restaurant. I looked out the window and saw a luxurious black car, the kind used by the very rich or the very dangerous. The door opened and a man got out. He was in his 60s, tall with carefully styled white hair, wearing a suit that looked like it cost more than my restaurant's revenue for an entire month. He carried an elegant cane, though he didn't seem to need it. It was just an accessory. He knocked on the door gently, 3 spaced-out knocks. Every instinct in my body told me not to open, but I had learned that running from problems never solves them. I took a deep breath and opened the door. "We're closed," I said in a voice more confident than I felt. He smiled, a cold, polite smile. "I know, but I'm not here for food, Mr. Karim. Or should I call you by your real name?" My heart jumped, but I maintained my composure. "Who are you?" "My name isn't important, but you can call me Mr. Hassan. I'm, let's say, a businessman, and I'm here to make you an offer." "I'm not interested in any offers." He laughed a smooth laugh. "Oh, but you should hear this first. May I come in?" "I promise I mean no harm. Just a conversation between 2 civilized men." I hesitated, then stepped back and allowed him to enter. I closed the door but didn't lock it. I wanted an escape route if I needed it. He sat at the same table where Rami had sat that night when everything began. This was intentional, a message. "Coffee?" I asked, trying to appear hospitable. "No thank you. As I said, I won't take much of your time." I sat across from him, my hands folded on the table, trying to appear calm. "You know, Karim," he began in a casual, conversational tone, "you've caused a lot of trouble for very powerful people. The Boss family was, let's say, old business partners of mine, and thanks to you, most of them are now in prison. Good. They deserved it." He smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. "Perhaps, but destroying an entire network created a vacuum. In the business world, vacuums are always filled, and my partners and I have filled it. So you're just another criminal like them." "Criminal?" He raised an eyebrow. "That's a harsh word. I'm a businessman who understands how the real world works. Laws were made by the powerful to control the weak. We just play by the real rules." "Why are you here?" "Because I'm a practical man. You've proven to be troublesome. Your testimony, your files, your investigations, all of this has made our work harder. But I also recognize talent when I see it. You're a brave man, intelligent, principled. These are rare qualities. Get to the point." He looked at me with eyes cold as ice. "I want you to stop. Stop helping people who come to you with their problems. Stop gathering evidence. Stop testifying in trials. Live your quiet life. Take care of your restaurant. Look after your mother. And if I refuse, then I'll have to take measures. Not against you directly, you're well protected now, and trying to kill you would bring too much attention. But your mother, your friend Taufik, the girl Sarah, they're not as protected." I felt anger boiling in my chest. "You're threatening them." "I'm clarifying facts. The world is a dangerous place, Karim. Accidents happen. People get sick, disappear, die, and sometimes all of this can be avoided if smart people make the right decisions." He stood up, holding his cane. "I'll give you a week to think. 1 week. After that, I want an answer. Either you agree to step back or, well, we'll see what happens." He walked toward the door, then stopped and turned to me. "Oh, and one more thing. That little backup you carry in your pocket, the flash drive, we know about it. Don't think it will protect you. If you try to use it, we'll know, and there won't be enough time to save those you love." How did he know about the flash drive? I had been so careful. He smiled when he saw the shock on my face. "As I said, we know everything. Think carefully about your decision, Karim. 1 week." He left and the door closed behind him with a soft but final sound. I remained sitting, shocked, scared, and angry. They had reached me again, and this time they were smarter, more dangerous. Chapter 21. The Impossible Decision. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the darkness thinking about my options. If I agreed to his offer, I would protect my loved ones. But I would allow evil to continue. I would betray everything my father and Rami and Yasin had died for. I would become complicit in their crimes through my silence. But if I refused, I would put my mother in danger. Taufik, Sarah, everyone I cared about would become a target. What kind of courage asks others to pay the price for your principles? At dawn, I made a decision. I called Nadia Al-Khatib. We met in her office at 7 in the morning. I told her everything about Mr. Hassan's visit, about his threats. She listened attentively, her face hardening with each word. "We know about Mr. Hassan," she finally said. "His real name is Hassan al-Dabas. He was a silent partner to the Boss family, but he was smart enough to keep his name off all documents. After the gang fell, he took over most of their operations. And what can we do about him? We're investigating him, but he's very careful. There's no direct evidence linking him to any crime. He's protected by layers of shell companies, lawyers, and people who do the dirty work for him. So we can't do anything." She looked at me for a long time. "We can put tight protection on your mother and friends. We can monitor him, wait for him to make a mistake, but if he's really determined to hurt them, he'll find a way. These people are patient and they have almost unlimited resources." That was what I feared. "So what do you suggest?" "I suggest we trap him. Make him think you agreed, then use you as bait to catch him." "Bait?" "Yes, you agree to his offer. Meet him again. We record everything. If he says anything incriminating on the recording, we can arrest him. And if he finds out, if he searches me for recording devices, then it will be dangerous. I won't lie to you, Karim, this is very dangerous, but it might be the only way to stop him permanently." I thought for a long time. This was a huge risk, but what was the alternative? Living in constant fear? Surrendering to blackmail? "I'll do it," I finally said, "but with one condition. I want full protection for my mother and for Taufik and for Sarah. I don't want anything to happen to them regardless of what happens to me. You have my word." Chapter 22. The Trap. I spent the following days preparing. Nadia's team installed very small recording devices, one sewn into my shirt collar and another in my wristwatch that looked completely ordinary. They placed my mother in a safe house with round-the-clock guards. Same thing with Taufik and Sarah, despite their protests. "Why are we hiding?" said Taufik. "Let me help you." "You're helping me by staying safe," I replied. "If something happens to you, I won't be able to focus. I need you to be okay." On the 7th day exactly at 11 p.m., Mr. Hassan returned. Same black car, same elegant suit, same cold smile. "Karim," he said with fake friendliness when I opened the door, "I hope you've thought well about my offer." "I have," I said, trying to appear defeated, tired. "And you're right, I can't keep fighting. I can't risk those I love. I'll agree to your terms." He smiled broadly. "A wise decision, my boy, a very wise decision." He entered and sat down. "Now let's discuss the details. You'll immediately stop helping anyone who comes to you with information about our activities. If the police or prosecution contacts you, you'll tell them you don't remember anything, and you'll hand over that backup to me, the flash drive. And what will I get in return? Life. A peaceful life for you and those you love. Isn't that enough? I want a guarantee. I want to know you won't touch my family or friends. You have my word. The word of a criminal. Forgive me if I'm not reassured." He laughed. "Fair enough. All right, how about this? I'll pay you $100,000 as compensation for your inconvenience and as a guarantee of your silence." This was the moment. If he was smart enough, he would suspect I was recording, but the greed of the powerful often blinds their wisdom. "All right," I said, "but I want to understand exactly what you want me to cover up. What kind of operations are you running?" He smiled with pride. "You're smart. You want to know what you're getting involved in. Well, let's be frank. We run everything: drug smuggling, money laundering, some illegal import and export operations. We have judges and police officers on our payroll. We're more powerful than the law. And murder operations, like what happened to Rami al-Salem." He looked at me cautiously for a moment. "We do what must be done to protect our business. Al-Salem was interfering. He had to be stopped." "You ordered his killing?" "Personally, no, but I approved the decision. It was necessary." I got him. It was a clear confession of conspiracy to murder. Suddenly he stopped and his eyes narrowed. Why all these questions, Karim? Are you trying to make me confess to something? My heart started beating fast, but I tried to appear calm. No, I'm just trying to understand what I'm dealing with. He stood suddenly, his hand going to his pocket. I don't trust this. Stand up. I stood, my hands raised. What? He pulled out a small device, an electronics detector. Damn. He began passing it over my body. When it approached my shirt collar, the device started beeping. You were recording me, you little traitor, he screamed and reached inside his jacket. Chapter 23, the final confrontation. I didn't think. I acted on instinct. I lunged at him before he could pull out the weapon he was carrying. We collided with the table, which overturned with a loud crash. He was stronger than he looked. He punched me in the face and I tasted blood. I tried to hold the hand that was trying to reach the weapon. Suddenly, the restaurant door burst open forcefully. Police officers were rushing in, armed, shouting, "Police, don't move!" But Mr. Hassan didn't surrender. He managed to pull out his pistol and aimed it at me. "If I'm going, you're coming with me," he screamed. I heard a gunshot, one shot, loud, noisy in the small space, but I didn't feel anything. I looked down, expecting to see blood. There was nothing. I looked at Mr. Hassan. He was looking down in shock at a red stain spreading on his chest. His weapon fell from his hand and he collapsed to the ground. One of the police officers had shot him a precise shot directly to the chest. Nadia Al-Khatib ran inside, looking terrified. "Karim, are you okay?" I'm fine," I said, still in shock. They looked at Mr. Hassan. He was still breathing, but barely. They called for an ambulance. I knelt beside him. His eyes were flickering and blood was coming from his mouth. "Why?" he whispered in a weak voice. "Why didn't you just give up?" "Because some things are more important than survival," I said. "Like justice, like honor, like doing the right thing." He smiled a sad smile. "Fool, like your father and like him, you'll pay the price eventually. Maybe, but at least I'll pay it standing on my feet, not kneeling." He closed his eyes. I didn't know if he would live or die, but that didn't matter now. The battle was over. Chapter 24, the consequences. Mr. Hassan survived the injury, but he would spend the rest of his life in prison. The confession we recorded, along with other evidence Nadia gathered, was enough to convict him of dozens of crimes. But more importantly, he started talking. In an attempt to reduce his sentence, he gave the police information about dozens of other criminals, corrupt officers, bribed politicians. There was a new wave of arrests, bigger than the first one even. But victory came at a price. In the following weeks, some of Mr. Hassan's partners tried to take revenge. There was an assassination attempt against Nadia Al-Khatib. It failed, but she was injured. There was an attack on the safe house where my mother was. It also failed, but it showed they wouldn't give up easily. And there was an attack that succeeded. Yasser, my old friend who helped me by transporting me in his truck to the prosecution building months ago, was killed in a car bombing. He wasn't even directly involved in the case, he just helped a friend. But that was enough to make him a target. I attended his funeral with tight security. I stood before his grave and cried for the first time since all this began. "I'm sorry, Yasser," I whispered. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted this. You were just trying to help your friend." I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Nadia. "This isn't your fault, Karim," she said quietly. "They're the ones who killed him. They're the ones who chose violence. You chose justice. There's a difference. But he's dead because of me. No, he's dead because of them. Don't let them make you feel guilty for doing the right thing. That's exactly what they want, to make you stop, to make others afraid of helping justice." She was right, but that didn't make the pain any less. Chapter 25, a year later. A full year passed since Yasser's death. A year of trials, testimonies, tight security, and constant fear. But it was also a year of victories. More than 150 people were arrested: criminals, corrupt officials, unscrupulous businessmen. It was the biggest campaign against organized crime and corruption in the country's history. Laws changed. New oversight bodies were created. It became harder for the corrupt to get away with it. It wasn't perfect, it would never be, but it was real progress. And as for me, I closed the restaurant. After everything that happened, I could no longer stay there. Every corner held a memory, every table reminded me of something. My mother and I moved to another city far away, a small coastal city where no one knew us, where we could truly start over. I opened another small restaurant there. This time I named it Hope, because despite everything, despite all the pain and loss, there was still hope. Sarah finished her second book, this one about everything that happened in the past year, about the ongoing battle against corruption. It became more successful than the first. Taufik moved abroad, started a new life in another country. He still calls me sometimes and we talk about his brother Rami, about the old days, about how small decisions changed the course of our lives forever. Nadia Al-Khatib, she was promoted to the position of First Attorney General. She became a national symbol of integrity and justice. We're still in contact and sometimes she asks for my advice on sensitive cases. Chapter 26. The Last Visit. On the anniversary of 2 years since the night Rami entered my restaurant, I went to visit my father's grave again. But this time I wasn't alone. I took my mother with me, who hadn't visited the grave in many years because of fear. I took Sarah, who wanted to thank the man who started all this without knowing. And I took a bouquet of flowers from the families of other victims' families of those killed by the boss and Mr. Hassan's gangs over the years. We all stood before the simple grave. "Hello, Dad," I said out loud this time. "It's been a long time since my last visit. I have a lot of news." I looked at the stone, imagining my father listening. "We won, Dad. It took 15 years and many lives and more tears, but we won. The people who killed you and the people who thought they were above the law, they're all in prison now. Justice finally prevailed." I felt my mother take my hand, squeezing it gently. "But more importantly," I continued, "your sacrifice didn't go in vain. Because of you, because of your courage in refusing to be silent, you started a chain of events that changed an entire country. Laws changed, systems improved, and ordinary people began to believe again that justice is possible." I placed the flowers on the grave one by one, each one representing a life saved, a family that got closure, a victim who got justice. I know the road was long. I know the price was high. We lost a lot, you, Rami, Yasin, Yasser, and many others whose names I don't even know. But thanks to all of you, the world became a slightly better place. Sarah started crying quietly. My mother hugged her. "I promise you, Dad," I said, my voice trembling, "that I'll never forget. I'll never forget your courage, your sacrifice, your faith that the right thing is worth fighting for. And I'll teach my children, if God blesses me with them someday, the same lesson. That principles are worth defending, that justice is worth struggling for, and that an ordinary person can make a difference." We stood there silently for a long time, each of us immersed in our thoughts. Finally, my mother whispered, "He would have been proud of you, Karim. I know it. Wherever he is now, he's very proud." I smiled despite the tears. "I hope so, Mom. I really hope so." Chapter 27. A New Circle. 2 months after that visit, on a quiet night in my new restaurant, Hope, I was closing as usual. It was late, close to midnight, and the small town was asleep. Someone knocked on the door. I stopped, memories flooding over me. How many times did everything start with a knock on the door at a late hour? But I had learned something over the years. You can't live in constant fear. You can't let the past paralyze the present. I opened the door. It was a young man in his 20s with a tired face and worried eyes. He was carrying a worn backpack. Are you Karim?" he asked hesitantly. "Yes, who are you?" "My name is Ahmed. I'm in big trouble, and I was told you're the only person who might be able to help." I sighed. It was starting again. "Come in," I said, opening the door wider. "But you have to tell me everything. No secrets, no lies. If I'm going to help you, I need the complete truth." He entered, relief clear on his face. Thank you so much." We sat at a table, not the same table Rami sat at, but symbolic somehow. "All right, Ahmed," I said, "tell me your story." And as he talked, telling me about corruption he discovered, about threats he received, about his fear for his family, I realized something. The circle hadn't completed. It would never complete. As long as there's injustice in the world, there will be people who stand against it. And as long as there are people standing against injustice, they'll need help. Maybe this was my mission, not just to fight my own battle, but to help others in theirs. I didn't choose this life, it chose me, but I wouldn't run from it anymore. Epilogue, the eternal legacy. 5 years have passed since that first night when Rami al-Salem entered my restaurant and changed my life forever. 5 years of struggle, fear, loss, but also of victories, hope, and real change. Now I stand on the beach of the small coastal city that has become my new home. The sun is setting, painting the sky with orange, red, and golden colors. My mother's beside me, healthy and happy. Sarah is here too, with her new husband, a journalist she met while working on her books. Taufik visits us from abroad, smiling more these days. And there are new faces, people I've helped over the years. People who stood against injustice thanks to encouragement and support. They've become family in a way, bound by a common thread of courage and principles. You know, Karim, says Sarah, standing beside me, you should write a book. Your story should be told. I laugh. You're the writer, not me. No, I mean it. Your story. It's not just about you. It's about every ordinary person who decided one day to stand up. It's about the price we pay for our principles and about the reason that price is worth paying. Maybe someday, I say. But right now I just want to enjoy this. The peace, the quiet, the family. She smiles. You've earned it. I watch the sun disappear below the horizon and think about everything that happened, about the entire journey. Everything started when I accepted the briefcase of money, but that's not really the beginning, is it? Everything started much earlier when a brave man named Karim al-Salem, my father, decided to stand against corruption, even if it cost him his life. And everything continued when his son decided to complete what he started, no matter the price. And now the struggle continues. Every day in every city there are people facing the same choice I faced. Silence or speak, fear or courage, comfort or principles. And every time someone chooses to stand, every time someone chooses to fight for what's right, the world becomes a slightly better place. This is the real legacy, not money, not fame, not even victory. The real legacy is the courage we inspire in others, the principles we pass on, the hope we keep alive. My father started something 15 years ago. Rami kept it alive. I completed it. And now there are dozens, maybe hundreds of other people carrying the same torch. And as long as there's one person willing to stand, as long as there's one person who refuses to be silent in the face of injustice, the battle isn't lost. I turn to go home, surrounded by my chosen family, this group of warrior survivors who shared my journey. And in my pocket, the small flash drive is still there, a backup of a backup of a backup. Life insurance, a reminder that the battle never ends. But tonight I'll leave it in my pocket. Tonight I'll just enjoy the peace, the love, the simple life I fought so hard for. Because that's also part of the legacy, to remember that while we fight for justice, we must not forget to live, to love, to be human. My father fought and sacrificed, but I know that in his heart he wanted only one thing: for me to be happy, safe, free. And now I am. Not always, not completely, but enough. And that, in the end, is the best revenge against those who tried to break us, to live, to love, to continue. To refuse to let them steal our humanity even while we fight them. This is the true legacy of Karim al-Salem, not death, but the life he inspired. And as long as I'm alive, carrying his name, carrying his principles, carrying his memory, he never died. He lives in every right choice I make, in every person I help, in every moment I stand against injustice. And that, in the end, is what it means to be a hero, not to die for something, but to live for it. Every day, in all the small and big ways, this is my story. The story of an ordinary man who accepted a briefcase on an ordinary night and found himself at the center of a battle that changed a nation. But more importantly, it's a story about choice, the choice between fear and courage, between silence and speech, between acceptance and resistance. And every time we choose courage, speech, resistance, we change the world a little. One person, one choice, one moment at a time. And so, under a sky glittering with stars, on a quiet beach in a small, faraway city, my story ends. Or rather, a new chapter begins. Because the real story isn't mine alone. It's all of ours, everyone who chooses in a crucial moment to stand for what's right. And this story, this struggle, this hope will never end. As long as there are those who remember, as long as there are those who care, as long as there are those who stand. Final note. Somewhere in a small coastal city stands a modest restaurant named Hope. Behind its glass partition, a man works quietly, cooking, serving, smiling. No one in town knows his real story. No one knows he's the man who helped bring down the biggest criminal network in the country's history. And he prefers it that way. But on quiet nights, when he closes the restaurant and sits alone, he looks at an old photo. He keeps a photo of his father, of Rami, of Yasser, of all who sacrificed. And he smiles, because he knows their sacrifices didn't go in vain, because he knows the battle, despite its difficulty, was worth the struggle, and because he knows that as long as there are people willing to stand, darkness will never win. The torch passes from hand to hand, from generation to generation, and the struggle continues forever.